Welcome to Salaam Nerds Podcast. We do reviews and recaps of your favorite TV shows, movies, and current events.
Yo, it's the Salaam Nerds. My name is Steve, aka Watch the Keys. I'm here with my boy Chad.
We drop live episodes on YouTube on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. Thank you to all our supporters. Please help us by subscribing and leaving a good review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. All episodes can also be found everywhere podcasts are found.
Yo, Salaam Nerds. It's your boy Neebs, aka Watchman Neebs, and I'm here with my co-host, Nuv the Poet. Welcome back to the show.
Hey, man. Thanks for having me once again.
Of course. Listen, my journey of WWE started at Royal Rumble 2025, and now we have officially made it 1 year. 2024. We have officially made it to Royal Rumble 2025. I have been officially watching wrestling for 1 full year, and I'm back. Honestly, last Royal Rumble sucked. I didn't like it. Why? Because I didn't know any of the people there. I'm just like, okay. Like all these people were what my brother did, actually. He went, because me and him started watching wrestling again at the same time. He went back and rewatched Royal Rumble 2024 right before 2025. He was like, it was actually really good once you know who all the people are.
Yeah, because you actually get the moments, like what they mean, and like otherwise you're like, why is everybody going crazy for this random dude doing this random thing?
No idea, right? So like it was really cool. But this year I got to enjoy it in all its quality. And we got the women's Royal Rumble, we got the men's Royal Rumble. Both I thought were really good. I think last year the women's Royal Rumble was a bit better than the men's, but this year I feel like they're pretty evenly stacked. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think the men's had more this year. There were just more stories. There were more characters that like mattered.
Yeah,
I felt.
Stories. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but like, yeah, both the Rumble's always an interesting thing because I feel like the concept is really cool, but at the same time, there's a lot of time of people just down, just like on the ground, and
I've seen that. Like even the man, like Penta, was down for like a good 35 minutes. I forgot he was still in there.
yeah, and like sometimes they do it obviously intentionally for certain people. Like probably they want to, but like sometimes I'm just like, I don't know, because it's hard. Like, what are you gonna do? Just pretend to be trying to push someone out this whole time? I feel like, because like obviously they have it planned of who's eliminating who and everything. Like all you can do if you're not in the center of the action taking a spot is like pretend to be trying to toss someone out. Like
so basically, so you're telling me that obviously we know wrestling is predetermined, so they don't just go in there and try to figure it out. They have it planned, like you're gonna eliminate him, he's gonna eliminate you. All of that stuff is all figured out, so you don't just like do it on the fly.
Yeah, that's all planned of who is eliminating who and like what kind of spot, so like I think it was jumping into the men's, if you want to start that way, I think it was Ludwig. He like ran in or took his time, then he finally got in and was eliminated immediately, right? Like that's a planned spot of like,
a planned spot.
That's not something to do on the fly. It's like we intentionally want to have, because this happens in a lot of Rumbles, the like quick elimination is a common spot that they do in Rumbles. So it was like
it sucks that Ludwig got it. I feel like that guy's been getting the short end of the stick because he's taken more losses than anyone this year. So I think someone on TikTok did like a calculation, and Ludwig calculation of losses was at like 97%. That's insane. And now in the Rumble, he gets eliminated in like a minute. Like like a few seconds.
Yeah, it's the downfall or like the downside of being a really good worker. Like you get put in these prominent positions, but you're usually on the losing end of it. You're not the one winning. It's same with Chad Gable. Like he makes people look amazing.
Yeah, like Penta.
He's taking L's all the time.
Yeah. Back in my day, like Steven Regal was known for that, right? Like put Steven Regal in a match and he'll make you look good.
Yeah.
He never became the big blowout star, so was somebody that you would feed to the big star. So
And
I
you
saw that.
need people like that, but it's frustrating when it's like someone you really like and think they
Yeah,
can do more, and you're just
yeah,
like, oh, that's what you're gonna like. Good on him that they trust him to, because you have to trust a guy to put him in that spot, or girl. You have to trust a wrestler to put them in that spot, right? Like you're saying, like I believe you can, take this
yeah,
responsibility of making the other person look really good. So that is
yeah.
a compliment in and of itself, but it's like at the same time,
I get it. I get it. Listen, as long as you're getting that paycheck, I'll take the losses. If you're paying me like $3 million a year, I'll take as many losses as you want.
I mean, the guys who are losing all the time aren't getting paid that much though.
Man. I feel like even like the lowest paid wrestlers got to be making decent amount at the WWE level.
Definitely, they're definitely making a decent amount. I'm just saying, like, it's the guys that they're losing to that are making the millions.
That's true. That's true. All right, so let's start talking about the Royal
Yeah.
Rumble. First off, we get Penta who comes in. He's brand new to wrestling. Like, I mean, not brand new to wrestling, brand new to the WWE. What a great way to start it off to build excitement. He's already like people really like him,
Yeah.
and they set him up with, of course, Rey Mysterio Jr. And it's the first time ever two Mexican stars have opened
Huh.
the Royal Rumble, which I thought was pretty cool. I never knew that. So that's a cool little history moment.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. I was just more fixated on the fact that these two have wrestled. I think I mentioned to you there was a promotion back in like the 2010s called
Mhm.
Lucha Underground,
Oh,
and
okay.
so Penta was one of the day one stars that they built out of there, and Ray came in I think like season 2.
Mhm.
Maybe it was later in season 1, but he showed up, and they had matches there too. So it was like a
Yeah.
cool thing of like. I mean, Ray is obviously Ray. He's been
Yeah.
around and he's been
Hall of
in the
Famer.
business for but it was like Penta and Ray in a WWE ring. It's like people can say whatever they want about the WWE, but there's no moment like two wrestlers being in a WWE ring.
Yeah.
And so for Penta specifically to finally get to this point
Yeah.
where he's against Rey Mysterio,
Yeah.
arguably the greatest luchador ever, and even Michael Cole keeps saying it. Penta has an argument to be made of him being the greatest luchador or one of, so it's just like them two getting a solid 2 minutes just to go. Fantastic.
Yeah. No, that's really good, man. And the thing is, like, even though it's the Royal Rumble and everything's happening crazy, they still find a way to add a little bit more to the stories that are going on right now. Because on the Raw story right now, or was it SmackDown? I'm not sure. Is that Gable has issues with lucha libres. He's luchadors. He has issues with them, and he's gonna go get trained. Yeah, a little racist, but like he went to Dominic, and Dominic gave him somebody who's gonna train him how to beat luchadors. And for him to come in number 3 with 2 of the greatest luchadors in there is like a cool little reminder. It's like, oh yeah, that story is still happening in the background. It's very cool. So
Yeah.
I did like that. I thought that was really, really cool. There was another spot that Gable had, which would have been cool if it wasn't already done by Chelsea Green in the women's match, where he throws everybody over and thinks he got everyone out, and they slowly come back in and they super kick him, the crap out of him. I think that was a good spot, but I think Chelsea Green did it better. Green threw everybody over, and they all came back and beat the crap out of her. Both spots I thought were good, but I think Chelsea pulled it off a little better.
Yeah. But before we move further, because I don't think we've spoken since Penta debuted. So, like, what are your first impressions of Penta?
I like Penta. I think he's very entertaining to watch. It looks like I do feel like I am not in on the joke, because like not on the joke, but like I just feel a little left out on the, in lack of better term, inside joke, because everybody seems to know something about him. I don't know anything about him. I'm brand new, but the crowd seems to like react as if he's been wrestling forever. So I feel like, okay, I'm missing something here. But as someone who comes in who doesn't know anything about him, he's very entertaining to watch. He has like great charisma. I love the way he walks down the road or the arena with the little Razor Ramon swag. I thought that was really, really cool. His mask, his costume is really cool, and big fan of his wrestling. The Mexican Destroyer is always cool to see. And I'm really excited to see what happens. There's not a big story building around him, so I'm waiting for the story.
Right.
But so far, watching him wrestle is really entertaining. I enjoy it.
Yeah. Awesome. I love it. Yeah, he's he's one of my like top guys. I've been a fan of his since Lucha Underground, and then he was in AEW the last few years.
No way, he was okay.
Yeah. So him and his, I believe it's his cousin, whose name's Ray Phoenix. They were both in AEW, both in Lucha Underground as well. But they're both supposed to come to WWE, but Phoenix had some contract issues. So once his contract is finally up and all that's taken care of, he'll probably be coming to WWE as well. But I think it kind of works out because I like Phoenix, but I would worry that if they came together, they would be put as a tag team. And I just think Penta thrives on his own as is. Like, you don't need to put him in a tag team. You can save that for later down the road. They can, have a a reunion or a moment together. But like, I think him coming in on his own is just like a great way to introduce him. And I love that there's a lot of hype behind him.
Yeah.
And like the commentators are hyping it up. The presentation of it all with the pyro in his entrance and like the lighting and everything, him getting promo time after his first match and everything. I think it was even after his second match too. But like, so they're giving him the push so far. We'll see what happens as time goes on. But
so the thing that I heard was that this people's biggest fear is that they're going to turn him into another, what's that guy? The Dragon Lee guy. Because apparently when Dragon Lee first aired, they hyped him up just as much, and Ray took him under his wing, and he was going to be this like great luchador wrestler. And then they end up doing almost nothing with him. He's just been in a couple of tag matches with Ray. There's no storyline involving him. He's just part of the LWO in the background. And people's biggest fear is that's what's going to happen to Penta. So do you think that's a possibility, or Penta's just built different? It's not going to like that.
I do think there's always a possibility, unfortunately, especially when you have like a faction like the LWO. Like that was people's fear, was that they would debut him with the LWO.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad that that has not come to pass, right? That's a good start. But the way they're presenting him and everything, and like specifically with the Rumble, like having him and Ray have this moment, I feel a bit more like, okay, I think they're gonna take him seriously. How long that lasts, I don't know, because WWE's like, I feel like they just get bored after a little bit, like, but we'll see. They brought him with a lot of hype, so.
Well, speaking of taking things seriously, how about the ISO Speed spot where he takes out Carmelo Hayes takes out Tazawi, and they need someone to take his spot, and the only person there is ISO Speed, who runs in and helps takes out Otis. So on the record, he has an elimination. He has the one elimination on his record, and then he's out celebrating. And then he gives one of the hardest spears I've ever seen from Braun Breaker, which almost broke him in half. And then he gets eliminated. I don't know how you feel about it, but it was the most viral clip from the Royal Rumble. So say what you want. It went viral like crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. And so this is the thing I like about wrestling, is that there's something for everyone.
Yeah.
Like, I personally don't care about Braun Breaker. I have barely a clue who ISO Speed is. I only know him because he showed up on a previous PLE. So I don't care about this whole moment. Good for him. Like, respect to him for taking that spear, because that looked brutal. But like the moment itself, I could not care less about. But it wasn't for me. And it wasn't for probably a lot of like these other wrestling fans who have the same kind of like approach. But like you said, it's viral. It was something for just a certain part of the fan base. They enjoyed it.
There's a group of young teenage boys who love the Logan Pauls and the ISO Speed and the Kai Sant. They're just into it, and I thought it was pretty. I like ISO Speed. Like, I'm not into him. I'm not what he's doing. But the few clips I have seen, he's entertaining. He's funny. He seems like a genuine nice guy. They did an interview where he's like, "What do you think was worse, Randy Orton's RKO that you took, or Braun Breaker's spear?" And he goes, "That's like asking me, did it hurt or did it hurt? Like, yeah, it just hurt. That's all you need to know." But I thought that was a fun spot.
I think it works fine in the Rumble. Like the Rumble is, you have so many people, 30 wrestlers.
I think it's better than the Pat McAfee and Michael Cole spot. I thought that was a little cringe. At least this is like for a different audience.
Yeah, and at least again he did something. Like I remember because WWE now posts these like they call them like playback videos where they have
Yeah.
wrestlers rewatch old matches.
Yeah.
So every Royal Rumble they have wrestlers watching the previous year's Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
So like I forgot about that Pat McAfee spot, but then I saw it and I was just like, oh yeah, this is stupid. And he enters and he leaves. Like at least IShowSpeed did something here.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was like, okay, again, there was entertainment value in that, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's for me or not, I'm one of millions of fans.
The Pat McAfee one was weird because he enters, he leaves, he comes back in, and then leaves again. And I'm just like, what is this?
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
So-
but the SSP one, it was fine. We got this. You don't like him, you have to see him take a spear. You do like him, you got to see him take a spear. Like everybody wins. Who
Yeah.
cares?
No, and like I was saying, so like there are different kinds of spots in the
Yeah.
Rumble. Like I said, there's that quick elimination. Then there's like these kind of like more entertainment spots, right?
Yeah.
And then you have like the serious stare downs with different like big wrestlers or whatever big stories they're building. So it's like the Royal Rumble is kind of like a perfect encapsulation of what
Yeah.
WWE is. It has a
Yeah.
little bit of everything.
Yeah. Well, speaking of which, another spot that I thought was fun for a certain demographic of the internet was when you say his name and then he appears. I thought that was great.
That was fantastic.
I was shook. I did not expect to see Joe Hendry pop up. And when that song hit, I was like, there's no way. And he came in and he was very entertaining. I think people were into him. And then he, poor guy, gets eliminated. But I thought that was a good spot. Apparently he had the title, so he showed up with his title. I thought that was good.
Yeah, he's the TNA World Champion.
He's the most viral star. Like he's the only like non-WWE star that like I actually know because of his song.
Yeah, man. I mean, and I'm sure I imagine you've seen some of the stuff of like he was very methodical with crafting that song.
Yeah.
He made it to be catchy and to be addicting and to be something that people could easily like grab onto, which I think is just so brilliant.
Yeah.
That like he sat there and like, okay, how can I get people to engage with this? Oh, the clapping. Then there's a part where it literally in the song
wave.
it says wave your hands.
Yeah,
like
wave your hands.
It's not something of like it's subtle. It's just telling you what to do and people follow the instructions.
It's so funny. It works, man. It works. I get it. I get it.
My only disappointment, I wanted him to interact with John Cena. I would have loved, because their personalities I feel would have just like bounced so well off each other.
Yeah,
it would have just been really funny. Like
who was somebody was clapping for him. I forget what I think it was like Sheamus or somebody who was
yeah, Sheamus was she was just watching what Joe was doing, and I forgot who stopped him, but he started fighting the dude. He's like, I was enjoying that. I was
that was a fun spot. That was good.
Yeah.
That's good. Another person. So now we get into some like the big guys, right? So like you said, there's something for everybody. So now we got the Jacob Fatus, we got the Roman Reigns, we got the Braun Breaker. Like they're in there and they're causing havoc. Jacob Fatu was a menace in the Royal Rumble.
Fatu is ridiculous, dude. I don't know if you've been seeing his promos and stuff as of late, but like the walking hallway promos that he does, is so good. He's so good. Oh man, it's just so funny. After like every other move, he would do his like weird like freak out thing,
weird body roll thing that he does, which is so funny. I love it.
It's so good.
It's so funny, but also menacing at the same time. Like, who does that?
It's just more like you see that and you're like, I don't want to mess with that guy. Like, it's weird what he's doing, but like it just tells me to like just keep away because he's got something going on.
Oh my god, it's so weird. It's so funny though. Another person who showed up that I did not expect to show up, AJ Styles. That came out of nowhere. I was like, back when he was on SmackDown, I was like, there's nothing left for him to do. He got beat by Cody Rhodes. Like, he's done. And then, boom, comes back to the Royal Rumble. And I was like, well, if he wins, it's the same thing again. But now what they did was they decided to transfer him to Raw. So now he's got a whole new group of people to fight, which I realized that is so smart, because this is my first year watching Raw. I didn't realize after these stories go stale and get old, they just do a transfer,
Yeah.
and then like it just becomes like another year of like brand new stories. And like I get it, I mess with this. I was like, what a great way to keep things fresh.
Yeah, that's why they usually have like I think maybe towards the summer they usually have the draft where
Yeah,
they basically just rearrange a lot of the superstars. Sometimes they have other concepts like this transfer window and like at one point they had the superstar shakeup. It's all basically just a way to just
yeah.
mix things up and get people on different brands. And like sometimes they'll move NXT stars to
To
Raw and
Raw,
SmackDown.
yeah, move them up, yeah.
But yeah, it's a very like simple but clever way to just like they moved Priest to SmackDown, which thank
Yeah.
goodness we don't have to see any more of him versus the Judgment Day.
Judgment
Like,
Day, yeah. No, that's good.
but yeah,
The
AJ
other-
was a great like unexpected return. Like I just I knew he got injured when he on his return match when he came
Yeah.
back like a few months ago. I think it was. I don't remember when it was anymore, but like. So I just didn't even have it in my mind that he would be showing up. And
Oh
then,
yeah,
like,
that's right. He did get injured. I didn't know if that was kayfabe or was it real.
yeah, they never touched on it, and so
Yeah.
like I was always confused. And then he never showed up, so I was like, oh, I guess it's real. But then he had his old music, like his old because they changed his music when he turned heel.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah, and like it was a weird version of it was stupid. And so I'm glad they just went back to the one that he debuted with.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Another thing, like we talked about Fatu earlier, but we got to see Braun Strowman and Fatu go at it one by one, and it was good because, like, yeah, we got to see Fatu, basically beat the crap out of Braun Strowman and knock him out, and like, help elevate Fatu's like, image because like he took out this big guy,
Right.
and like I'm like great, but then like Braun got him back because he eliminated him in the Royal Rumble, and he was like, you should have killed me while you had the chance. And I was like, good. I think they both got off well in that scenario, in that rivalry. I was like, yeah, he got to come off super menacing, and he gets to crash out, and Braun gets to eliminate him in the Royal Rumble. I think it works out pretty well.
Yeah, that's what's really cool about the Rumble is like you can use it as a way to give people that like closure to their rivalries.
Yeah.
Like whether or not they continue, which they kind of are because they have a triple threat next week.
Yeah.
It's Jacob versus Braun versus Damian Priest in an Elimination Chamber qualifying match, which is an insane match to have on television.
Yeah.
Like those are three big dudes, and you're just gonna have them go at it. Like that's amazing. I'm actually really hyped for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like, but even if they just wanted to like kind of close this mini feud they did, Braun kind of gets his comeuppance, or like I guess Jacob gets his comeuppance by getting eliminated, and that's it. Like, but like it doesn't make Jacob look bad because it's the Rumble. Like,
it's a
you
Rumble.
don't really look bad if you get eliminated in the Rumble because
because everyone's gonna get eliminated except for one person. So it makes sense.
And like again, like you're if they get you when your back is turned or something, like it's like one of those like just chance things. It's not like a pure skill thing to eliminate someone.
Exactly. And then we start getting some more big names. We get to see John Cena roll up. We got to see CM Punk roll up. We got to see Seth Rollins roll up. And then we get to see Drew McIntyre. All of them in there at one time was pretty crazy to see.
Yeah. I thought it was really cool that they had, was it first Cena and Reigns? I think staring down at each other.
And they just waited.
Yeah, they were just doing a stare down, and then Punk came.
Yeah.
So then the three of them are staring at each other, and there was a moment, and then Rollins comes, and then it's like the four of them.
Yeah.
And it's just like this really cool moment of like these, just the biggest stars in the company, honestly.
And then Penta's just on the corner sleeping.
Yeah. What was really interesting about the Rumble is the way it was like, again, like planned. So like the first half was like a lot of, the younger stars and like maybe newer stars, and like there's more of these like the silliness and these like
fun spots, celebrity spots. Yeah.
And then you get to all the like stars, right? Where you get Roman, you get John, you get Punk, you get Rollins, McIntyre, Cena, Sammy, Jay, AJ, Logan.
Which is crazy
because
I guess when you get to the end, you get to the part where you're like, honestly, any of these guys can take it, and that's what makes it exciting. Because like, if Penta's still in there, you're kind of just like, all right, at this point, Penta's not gonna win. There's no way. Gable's not gonna win, and like some of these smaller people like Ludwig, they're not gonna win. So if you see them at the end, you just know. But when you're at the end and there's nothing but big stars everywhere you look, you're like, could be anybody.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you say that because of who won. Because I'm just like, I want to skip to the end because there's still like little things we can talk about. But
Yeah.
it's just funny because like, not saying Jay isn't a big star, but like in comparison to the other names we just said, like I
fair.
wouldn't. I did not expect him to win. He was not even close to one of my picks.
Yeah, he wasn't one of the picks either.
So,
but like, I don't unsee it because
No.
like he is the biggest selling star right now in terms of
Yes.
merch, in terms of the kids and crowd hype. Like we went to that SmackDown,
Yeah.
no one was hyped more than his match
Yeah.
because people were just into it. People love the yeet, people love his song, people love the dance. Like if
Yeah.
even the Cody Rhodes thing gets old, his doesn't for some reason. Like
Yeah.
it just people just love it.
Oh yeah. I don't disagree. I'm just like in terms of like quote unquote star power, right? Like Cena, Punk, Roman, and then Jay. Like Jay's just like a tier below, but it works because it makes sense. Like him winning makes sense because of that logic, right? Because the rest are all bona fide stars already. They are like solidified in the history of WWE as like some of the greatest ever. Right? Jay is still climbing that ladder.
But you can make the argument that he needed to push more. So it makes more sense to give it to him. Like
no, that's what I'm saying. That's what my point is saying, that because he's like just maybe even a half tier below, maybe he's not a half a tier below all these other guys, he's still etching his way up to being like a bona fide, you know, like forever main eventer versus like Roman, Punk, Cena. When you bring them out, they're guaranteed main eventers. Jay, you bring him out right now, he could be in the main event, or he could just be in like any match, you know. So he needed, to your point, he needed this win more than the rest of them.
Yeah, that is true. That's one of the things that like people say a lot about the Undertaker and Brock Lesnar match. There was like, he broke his streak, but he didn't need it. He didn't need that push, so you wasted it. It's better to use that on someone who really needs it and give them an extra push and give them that star power, right? So something like Stone Cold Steve Austin winning the King of the Ring, he needed that push to become Austin 316. So something like that is, I think it works well in this industry. So I did like that. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was just saying, and like, I think overall, and there's room for obviously variety, but I think overall the Rumble or Money in the Bank, unless the story really calls for it, it should serve to build up a new star. You know, elevate them to that next level. And I have there's no argument that this did it for Jay. Like he came out on Raw and they wanted an encore of him doing his theme and everything.
I saw that.
I don't think I've ever seen that in wrestling ever.
That's like when Kanye and Jay-Z would go to concert and people would make them play Something in Paris over and over again. Because I went to Watch the Throne and they literally did that song like 7 times. And I was like, and no one got tired of it. So I guess, that's what I mean. We got Asif in the comments saying, happy Jay won, but I hope CM Punk gets the last match of one of the nights. I wouldn't mind that. But John Cena's got to do something. Here's the thing I'm annoyed about John Cena. He comes into the Royal Rumble, great. And now he's automatically in the Elimination Chamber. I'm like, where is the story? Is he just going to come to the PLE and dip? Like, where are his stories? Like, why are we going to care for him? What's his story? All his stories, I'm going to be the 17-time world champion or the 18-time world champion or whatever it is. Like, I hate
Let the
this.
hate flow through you. Let the hate flow through you.
And I love Cena. I'm a Cena fan. Yes. But like, I wouldn't say I'm a Cena fan. I like him more as an actor than I like him as a wrestler. But I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, he wasn't in any of the episodes of Raw or SmackDown before Royal Rumble, so we weren't hype. But I was like, fine, he's going to make his first appearance at the Royal Rumble. And now we're having Raw and SmackDown, and he isn't showing up at them. And there is no storyline moving forward. And he's just automatically in the PLE. Like, makes me not want him to win. To him get a pass. Like it annoys the crap out of me.
Let the
And
hate
I'm gonna
flow
be
through you.
I'm gonna be so mad if you like. Well, he gets a bye. What the fuck is this, a bye? Like
Yeah, man.
I don't. It bothers me. Like no, Cena should have to come in and do the elimination matches and come out on the lowly shows like Raw and SmackDown. Make him come on NXT for all I care. Make him earn it. Ugh,
Yeah,
it's
that'll
so
be great.
annoying.
It's not going to happen, but that'll be great. I appreciate your insight because I agree completely. Yeah, I just, I've made it very clear how I feel about Cena, so I'm not shocked at this point that he does what he does.
Yeah.
And he didn't even do anything in the match either, to be honest. Like, it's not like he did much in the Rumble itself.
Even if he did, I didn't see it because you can't see him.
Yeah.
Did you see Logan Paul's TikTok?
No.
He made a TikTok and he goes like, I don't even know how I got eliminated. I just felt a push of air because John Cena eliminated him. And what he did was he re-imaged the video of John Cena and eliminated John Cena with AI. So it looked like an invisible man pushed him.
Well, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, that's the story of Cena. That's been the story of Cena. That's the story of another wrestler, which we'll get to in a little bit. But
I'm starting to become a hater. I'm starting to become a Cena hater.
Yeah, my hope, and I don't even say this because of like my dislike of Cena, but I actually don't want him to win the title, or I want him to win it at the very end of his run. Yeah, because I want them to go down so this is the thing. Cena has never had like a real like character story.
Yeah,
right?
Really?
It's just been like, I mean, his story is he never gives up, and he comes up to an obstacle and he never gives up, and he comes up to an obstacle and he never gives up and he overcomes. That's literally all that's happened, right? Like the biggest story was he lost to The Rock at WrestleMania 28, and then he self-proclaims he had the worst year of his life, even though he was still main eventing pay-per-views over the champion. He wasn't champion at this time. He was main eventing PLEs while CM Punk was the champion in the mid card. And that's the worst year of his life, apparently, because it's so bad to be John Cena. And then he goes on, wins the Rumble, and he beats The Rock and gets his redemption. It was a terrible story. It was no good. Okay, yeah, she divorced him. Oh, big deal. Like, whatever, dude. And then,
wait, his wife also came back in
actually, I don't think they were ever married.
Oh, they were never married?
No, they got engaged.
Okay.
Yeah, oh my god, don't get me. He proposed to her at WrestleMania.
Damn.
And then they never got married. They won a match together against The Miz and his wife Maurice. He proposes to her in front of like 70,000 people, and then they never get married.
That's cringe. Oh,
this is ridiculous.
Cena.
Yeah.
Oh, Johnny boy, what are you doing? All right.
But you know, he was married before Nikki. And yeah, he got divorced that year after losing to The Rock. Again, still main eventing, still making millions, still being John Cena and loved, and but it was the worst year of his life. If that's the worst year of his life, that's a pretty solid year for most people.
Someone says that's why she came back to the Rumble to finish the story.
Man.
That's funny that they're both came back on the same Royal Rumble. That's pretty funny.
But yeah, so like this was like that, I would argue, is like his biggest like character, like inner reflective story. I feel like you could do something here of like he keeps coming up short, right? Because time has just passed him by. The wrestlers today are faster, they're stronger, they're smarter, they're quicker, they're just better, right? And that's just age. That's not like him. It's not like he's not good. It's just time is, especially with the developmental system that they have now. Like you're just these wrestlers are now better prepared to compete and perform. And so like have him go up against a Braun Breaker and lose, not winning the IC title, right? Have him go up against a freaking who's a strong dude like Jacob Fatu and lose because Jacob's just stronger, right? Have him lose against someone who's like a quicker dude, like a Carmelo or something like that, and just have him come to this realization that like it is his time to go because he literally can't compete with the current crop. They're not going to do it, but
What if you go through all this and doesn't get it, and then that's the lesson that we take away? Sometimes you just can't
That's
do
what,
it.
well, that's why I would advocate you don't have him win, because that's just life. You don't
Yeah,
get everything in life. That's the
that would
reality.
that would be good. Someone says, yeah, faster, stronger, and have more hair. Yo, leave his bull spot alone, all right?
But the point is, he still had an incredibly successful career. He still has all these fans who love him. He got to
Yeah,
experience WWE fans one last time for this entire year. He
yeah,
got to give his all, but sometimes your best isn't enough. Like, that's
yeah.
the story. I think that would be great.
That would be great. That would be great, Sherry. Speaking of the best isn't enough, Sami Zayn coming up short at the Royal Rumble and gets eliminated accidentally by Jey Uso, his buddy.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, Sammy was my dark horse. Like
yeah,
I said, I didn't expect Jay to win. Sammy was my,
yeah,
like, 1 in 100 shot of winning.
yeah.
But interesting assertion. The comment, he says Sami Zayn is a victim of Islamophobia.
I don't know about
I don't know about that
that.
one. But what do I know? But yeah, see, like, even that little moment, right? Like, obviously they're
Yeah,
not gonna make it like a feud between them,
yeah,
but it's just these little moments that go like, oh, what could they do with that? Or like,
yeah. No, that's true. That's true. No, I thought good. And then we talked a little bit about the Jey Uso and him being the one to eliminate John Cena, and then John coming in and giving his respect and stuff like that. I think that also helps with the Jey Uso push a little bit. I
yeah.
think that was pretty good also.
Oh yeah, that
Um,
was great. Honestly, like, after it happened, because when it happened, I was like, wait, why would you have John be the one to get? And then, like, they did the whole, he raises his
yeah,
arm, and I was like,
yeah,
okay, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. Like, it's the face of the company before, like the previous face giving
yeah,
to, like, the most popular guy right
yeah.
now, and so I thought that was really cool, and I'm fine with Jay winning. I know a lot of the internet isn't,
I know the
but
internet isn't, but I mess with it, man. I was like, listen,
yeah,
if you go to a live event, there's no one who brings more energy than Jay.
yeah.
I totally get it.
I think people forget that, like, being the top guy doesn't mean being, like, the best wrestler or the
Yeah,
best performer overall. It's really who connects with the audience the most,
yeah.
right? Like,
So I watched this documentary, and it said that, hey, when you become the top guy, you become the Hulk Hogan, you become the Ultimate Warrior, you become like some of these big stars. They actually make your wrestling. They change your wrestling style. You're
yeah,
not allowed to take as many risks on like in your matches and stuff like that. And that's why Hogan became like, hey, I have these set of moves. I do it. John Cena has his 5 moves of doom and stuff like that. Is because you're the face of the company. You're what's bringing in money to the company. If you get injured, the company loses money. So the best way to assure that the company doesn't lose money is to make sure you don't get injured. The best way to make sure you don't get injured, that you can come to every single event, you can come day by day and do it over and over again, is to make sure you're not doing the complicated moves, the difficult moves, or those fancy high flying moves. And I get that. And that's something I never thought of before. I like that makes a lot of sense, because the same thing in Hollywood, like the main actor is the person whose salary is the highest. Every time he's hurt and can't come into work, the production is losing money.
right. Yeah,
And that makes a lot of sense now. And I get why they do that with JSO. And yeah, like people complain, like, yeah, he has like 5 moves, a super kick, a spear, and a splash, and the yeet. Those are all the things that he does. I get that. But if you're becoming one of these people, I don't hate it. But I do think Jay does a great job in his matches, as long as he's not facing another Samoan, because then it's just super kicks, splashes, spears, and Samoan drops. Because he's doing them and they're doing them. When he's
yeah,
with a wrestler who has a different style, it's a fun match to watch,
yeah.
because you got his style, and then you have someone like, I don't know, Sammy, or someone like
True.
Gunther, right? Very two different styles of fighting,
Yeah,
and when you mix the two up, it's not as bad.
yeah.
Yeah,
You're 100%. That was something I wanted to bring up, not only here, but I want to do like a YouTube video on, of just like, if you're upset about Jay being like a lackluster in the ring,
yeah,
blame the WWE system or be upset with the system. And like it or not, there's logic behind it, which you pointed out, right? Like,
Yeah.
you don't want them to get hurt, and so you want to minimize the opportunity for them to get injured as much as possible. So
Yeah.
not having Jay do like all this crazy stuff, or like he only does maybe one suicide dive in a match, right? Because like if you do too many, you put more risk on him actually like landing improperly or this or that, right?
Yeah.
And so I don't like it either. I would love to see more like dynamic matches in the main events,
Yeah.
but I also understand the logic behind it.
Yeah.
But it's not Jay's fault. Jay can wrestle, and like it's so
Yeah.
funny people suddenly like call him out or like say he doesn't run. He's been literally in the company for the past like 14 years or something,
Yeah.
and he's been putting on banger matches with his brother, and
Yeah.
suddenly he can't wrestle. Oh
Yeah.
wow.
I think the WrestleMania match against his brother left a bad taste in people's mouth because it was
Sure.
just super kicks over and over again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you. Someone has, speaking of theories, here's a fun one. They should test this theory by having Jimmy come out and start doing the yeet and see how long it takes the crowd to notice. And then he says, "Wait, maybe that's why they're making him the top guy, a twin. In case he gets injured, you might just be able to switch him out." Oh
Well,
my god,
Jimmy
that's funny.
did the yeet on Friday when he was
Oh,
cutting a
did he?
promo.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was talking to McIntyre because McIntyre was like, "Oh, like your brother is the one that's more successful. Like maybe if you just started yeet first, then you would have been the one on top." And so he's
Yeah.
like, "I can do yeet. I can do no yeet. I can do." Jimmy actually cut a great promo on SmackDown.
Yeah.
Which was like way more substance. Like that's another thing people are like complaining about with Jay is that all he does
Yeah.
is like. But I'm like, but that's what Austin did.
Yeah.
After a while, it was just literally saying that, like, he would be talking about like alcohol, and he'd say like, "Give me a beer," and then they say what, and then he'd say vodka, what, whiskey, what, like that's all he did. After
Yeah.
a while, that's all he did. One of
Yeah.
the internet's favorite wrestlers, Daniel Bryan, got this gimmick where all he do was chant yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Same thing. All he would do is encourage the audience to say yes by asking questions.
Yeah.
That is the WWE system that
Yeah.
makes these characters do this. They definitely overdo it. That's the problem, is they like beat the dead
Yeah.
horse until it's like 6 feet under.
Yeah.
But I also get it. Like if it's popular, why wouldn't you run with it? Right? Like
Yeah.
all LA Knight mostly says is yeah. Like it's,
Yeah. Yeah. That's all he does. All right. Well, let's talk about the women's Royal Rumble real quick because
Sure.
I want to make, because that was also a lot of fun to watch. Some of the cool stuff that happened there. So first we get Liv Morgan and Io Sky showing up to basically knock it out, and then we got Roxanne Perez shows up, and then here's something interesting: Lyra Valkyria shows up and has a terrible wardrobe malfunction.
Yeah.
I don't know if you caught that, but it was
Yeah.
bad to the point she had to just lay on the ground. And then if you see it, there was a female referee who just happened to have a pin who was able to fix her wardrobe malfunction.
Yeah.
And the crowd started cheering for the referee.
Yeah.
I thought that was really funny.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it was also cool that Liv had the the I don't know what the right word is, foresight, I guess, or whatever. But like
Foresight,
she hit Lyra, so Lyra
Yeah.
could go down and go into the corner and get that taken care of.
Yeah.
Which I was like, because Lyra was like in the middle of her like sequence or something and trying to
Yeah.
do stuff, and so Liv was like, "No, just go down. I'll hit
Yeah.
you, and then you can go get that." I was like, "That's like that's just like good like
Being a
ring
pro.
awareness, good being a
Yeah.
pro." So yeah, that was cool.
That was solid. I really did like that. That was pretty good. And then Chelsea, we talked about Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green had a really good spot where she eliminated everybody and they all beat her up. But there was another spot that I thought was really funny. And it's when all of the black wrestlers started getting into the middle of the ring and they were kind of just like strutting themselves. And then here comes Chelsea right in the middle.
Yeah, on the first day of Black History Month too. Like,
I didn't even notice that. Chelsea, what are you doing?
Yeah, no, it was good. I've expressed my thoughts about Chelsea, but she does her role really well. Like I'm not gonna ever take that away from her. She does her role really well. And she can be entertaining. I just don't like, I'm just not like her biggest fan.
Fair. Another person I thought I saw enter the Royal Rumble and I never really saw her wrestle before was BFAB. BFAB was just, I thought she was just a manager. I didn't know she could actually wrestle and stuff, and she's starting to wrestle, and I feel like she has a lot of potential. I really like her.
Yeah, I haven't seen too much of her either. She hasn't wrestled that much,
Yeah.
so I can't say much. But yeah, I mean,
They're giving her the Maxine Dupree treatment where they make her do like a bunch of good moves real quick and then they get rid of her. So that
yeah,
way, like she doesn't. I'm like, hey, if it works, it works. I get that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of,
Yeah,
yeah,
speaking of Maxine Dupree, we have her go with Ivy Nile. What are your thoughts about that? The good way to like add more to the rivalry during the Rumble.
yeah. It's like I said before. Like the Rumble gives you the opportunity to have people who have ongoing stories, to create new stories, to just like give us moments, like you said with Bianca, Naomi, Lash Legend, and Jada Parker. Like
Yeah.
it allows to do so many things all in one like setting and in one like setup. So it's really
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I thought that was a fun moment. Like um she seems to be improving on her wrestling ability, so that's great to
Yeah.
see. And that's it. It's good.
That's good. And then who else? We
Then
get to
Jordan
see
Grace show up.
Jordan Grace shows up. Yeah. I didn't know who she was
Yeah,
before that. But she had this one spot where she picked up Piper Niven, and I was like, damn,
yeah,
that was cool to see.
yeah. She debuted. Well, she came into the Rumble last year as well. This
Okay.
is last year. She was part of TNA,
Yeah.
and so like kind of what they did with Joe Hendry this year. She was the TNA. They call them knockouts over there. The TNA
Mhm.
knockouts champion,
Mhm.
and she showed up in the Rumble. But now she's actually signed to WWE, so we'll be
Oh,
seeing
cool.
more of her.
That was good to see. They also brought back Natalia,
Yeah.
but the big one that people were seemed to
Mm,
going crazy for was Alexa Bliss. Now I don't really
yeah.
know anything about her, but the crowd went crazy for her. So I'm guessing
Yeah.
that was a big surprise and a big pop.
Yeah. Alexa is a huge. The pop was ridiculous. There was
Yeah,
speculation, but no, we didn't know. And like supposedly there were rumors online. I don't look too much online at things anymore.
yeah,
But there were probably rumors that there was like contract disputes that couldn't come to an agreement. This
yeah.
that. So everybody was like, "Oh my god!" I was just like, "Dude, this is what WWE does. They leak stuff just for you to
Yeah,
like."
the announcers were like, the internet said this wasn't happening. The internet said this was the.
Yeah, they just
That's why.
WWE straight up gaslights its audience just by like leaking stuff and making you
Yeah,
like, oh, like it's the same thing that happened with Punk. It was just
yeah,
like Punk is
yeah,
not, we've not heard from Punk. There's no indication that Punk is showing up when he first
yeah,
like returned, and then lo and behold, he returns. It's like the more they push that something's not happening, the higher
yeah.
the chances are that it's going to
That's
happen.
so funny. The
But yeah,
MCU should learn from them because their stuff just gets leaked out everywhere.
who? Oh,
The
DNC.
MCU,
Oh, MCU. Why did I say that?
yeah, Marvel, yeah,
But yeah, she's a wrestler that's definitely like earned her way. Like
yeah,
she's super good with her character work and her mic work. She's
yeah,
solid in the ring, but like it's
yeah,
her character. But what's really like kind of put her over the like edge with the fan, what really got her over was when she teamed up with the now deceased Bray Wyatt.
yeah,
And so that's why like her jacket said friends forever, but it also spelled out fiend was like the big, because like Bray Wyatt had
yeah.
a character called the Fiend, and she
The
was with the
Fiend.
Fiend. And like so,
Oh,
and
that because she looked like she was like a White Six character a little bit. Oh, that
yeah.
makes
So she
sense.
was she was with Bray Wyatt initially. Well, not
Yeah,
initially, but like years ago.
yeah,
And then she's also been gone for 2 years.
yeah,
They said her last match was like January 2023.
yeah,
So she's been gone for 2 years. She had a kid. She got married.
yeah,
So she's been living her life.
yeah.
So we've all been anticipating her, and yeah, I'm hyped to see her back.
That's cool. Well,
Yeah.
speaking of seeing somebody come back,
And oh wait,
oh,
and her,
go.
that doll she came out with,
Yeah,
Lily, it's like already sold out, and like pre-orders are backed up for months.
no
So
way.
yeah.
Has she used that doll before? Or is it the first time she's used that doll?
This is
Okay.
a different looking, but it's still Lily was the name of the doll. Yeah, like
Yeah,
when she was with Bray,
yeah,
she was doing a thing and she had this doll, and I don't even remember the like significance of it, but
yeah,
whatever. It's like
yeah.
the Yeet thing. It's just like one of those
Yeah,
things that
if
appeals
it
to the
sells out,
audience.
it sells out. That's
Yeah.
great. Also another Hall of Famer, Trish Stratus.
Yes.
That was crazy. Someone from back from my day. That was cool to see.
Yeah.
Trish Stratus was definitely one of like the first women when it came to like actually be like putting respect on some of the female wrestlers' wrestling abilities. I remember that. Even though she did a lot of crazy stuff, especially with the Vince McMahon storylines, they were not great. But it was cool to see her come back. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, it's always good. I mean, she was it last year? It might have been the year before. She had returned and she had a whole feud with Becky Lynch, which was great. And then even a few years prior, she had had a match with Charlotte at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
She's been back. She's made returns in the Rumble before, but so it's always good to see her. It's always nice to see her and like but yeah, like what she did actually, the feud she did with Becky was really cool because she came back as a face. She teamed up with Becky and Lita, and then she turned on Becky.
Becky Lynch?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so then they had this whole feud. They had these series of matches ending in a steel cage match. Great match. It was like really good work. Some of the best work of her career, in my opinion. But
cool.
yeah, so it's always cool to see her.
We were talking about Alexa Bliss and her doll a little bit. Someone mentioned, I want to know your guys' thoughts on wrestling merchandise. Son, how many people actually buy those title belts? And I want one, but they're expensive. But they are pretty expensive. But I mean, wrestling merch is the big thing. And the thing is, it's really easy. Like what they do is so smart. For example, they make specific merch for every city. So like where it has like American Nightmare, they'll have one that says New York Nightmare. So people are like, oh, it's exclusive to New York. I have to go and get this one, right? They're so smart with it. And they make a lot of money because they make it a sense of like, oh, you could only get hit here at the stadium, and they're gonna jack up the price like crazy because they're essentially just t-shirts made for $2 and they're being sold for like $50. But you gotta buy it. I bought mine. I bought my Sami Zayn shirt. Like I know it was overpriced, but I don't care. I want something to wear.
Yeah, I'm very limited in how much I buy, but like because I feel the same way. And like I've never bought a title belt from them. I did get a custom one made for my brother for his birthday one year, and that was like $230. Which is still, I think, cheaper than any other belt in WWE because they're like 300 plus.
I have $1,000 belt, but it's not a wrestling belt. So basically, back in my day, a little bit after college, me and my brother started a dance program, a dance competition. It was called Notch Notch Revolution, which was like Bollywood dancing. And we thought, instead of a stupid trophy, why don't we create a belt? So we created a dance belt that like the teams would win, and they would keep it for a year. And then next year they would have to defend it to the next team. And they would not have to pay like a admission fee to be in the next year's what you call a competition. But after they lose it, their names gets like there's a little plaque in the corner, and you get to add your name every year to it.
So that's really cool, actually.
It was actually a cool idea, and like we did it for a while, and I still have the belts. It's like $1,000 belts made out of gold and stuff. It's like it's heavy as hell. So that's why I like real, but like we bought it for the competition and we paid for it through ticket sales. So like I wouldn't actually buy it myself for that much.
Right. Yeah, I would never buy a belt just to like have it personally. I mean, I know plenty of people who have them and like, that's their money, their choice. But for me, like, again, I bought that for my brother as like a birthday gift for this cool, because we're both big wrestling fans, but I actually had to customize to have the Power Rangers logo because we're also both big Power Ranger fans. So I called it the More Phenomenal Championship. And so that's like a sentimental thing more than like I just want a belt,
No, I get it.
I have like the cheap like $20 one, the US title, but like that's the most I'll spend on a belt.
All right, another spot that we finally get Charlotte Flair back, who looks phenomenal. I was like, holy crap, the genetics on her is insane. She's super tall, 6-pack. I'm just like, that's Ric Flair's daughter?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? I don't know anything about her. I've never seen her fight. It's the first time I saw her. She is impressive looking. That's all I know. What are your thoughts about her wrestling ability? Because I don't love the fact that she came in and won. Because I'm just like nobody like I don't know. It just seems super random to me. But I don't know the backstory. I don't know what it is.
Welcome to the past decade of WWE in the women's division. Her showing up saying I get an opportunity and then she wins. That's literally how her career has basically gone for the past decade. And it's been frustrating the
Yeah.
entire time. Because people argue it's not just because she's a Flair,
Mm-hmm.
but I would argue that she would not have as many accolades if she wasn't Charlotte Flair.
Yeah, yeah,
I would argue she would still be like pushed a lot,
yeah,
but like Alexa Bliss, I think she has like 5 or 6 title reigns. I think
yeah,
Charlotte would be more in that realm,
yeah,
not in the was it like 14 or something? It's like something
yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah. Something ridiculous.
She would not have that. I die on that hill that if her name was not Flair, she would not have the same amount of accolades. She still
Yeah,
would be like treated as a top star,
yeah,
but there is no doubt in my, and that's not to say like because her whole gimmick is also just being a Flair.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
her whole shtick. She comes out in the robe. Her theme is like a remixed version of like
Of
Ric
Ric
Flair's
Flair's,
theme.
yeah.
She
And
does
then
the
her,
woo. She does the
she,
chops. She does the
yeah,
figure 8. Like,
yeah,
how can you say she's not Ric Flair? Like,
yeah. I get that. A little bit of a little, yeah. I get that. No, that makes sense.
it was, I forgot which WrestleMania it was. I think it was WrestleMania 32 or 33. She ended Asuka's undefeated streak at that point, which was like this
Oh,
complete.
damn.
Yeah, she won, and then she faced Asuka, and then she's now champion, and then like later. So the whole reason Becky Lynch became the man was
Yeah,
because it was her, Charlotte, and this other wrestler named Carmella in a triple threat.
yeah,
And Charlotte had just come back
yeah.
and was inserted into this title match. It was supposed to be Becky and Carmella, and Charlotte just gets inserted, and then she wins the title. So Becky turns on her, which got the whole crowd to support Becky because they were so sick of Charlotte winning all the time and just getting things handed to her.
Yeah.
Does this sound familiar?
Yeah, I get it. That makes sense. I get. Well, speaking of legacies, another person who gets a lot of push but people don't really like is Nia Jax. And she came in here and now she holds the record for most eliminated people in the Royal Rumble. Apparently she was tied for most eliminated, and then when she came into this one, I think she took out like 7 people in one shot, which is a crazy spot. But now, yeah, she is basically the person who has the most.
Oh, like total
people that she eliminated.
But like in one Rumble or like in total? Like,
in total.
Okay.
She may even have it in one Rumble because I think she took out a lot of people in one shot in this one.
Yeah. Probably not, though. I think the most in one is like 13 or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Which is absurd. Not. That's almost half the entire field.
Yeah. I think she took out like 7 at least.
Yeah. It was like 6 or 7 and then probably a couple other. But like, wow. Because there's only been, 6 Rumbles, 7 Rumbles at this point?
Yeah.
Versus like the men's who have had obviously like 30 years of Rumbles. So that's pretty insane.
Yeah.
Good for her.
But Nia gets a lot of heat. Like, people do not like her.
I don't mind her.
Yeah. Well, speaking of people you don't like, seems like people really like Nikki Bella. She seems to be very popular. I don't know what her thing is. I never seen her wrestle. This is the first time I've ever seen her wrestle.
Yeah, I don't know why people like her, but people do. So like it was in 2018, they had a women's only pay-per-view. It's called Evolution. It was in Nassau Coliseum on Long Island. I didn't go to it, but my brothers did. And they were like, dude, so many people had Nikki Bella gear. I was like, really? That's insane. Like, I was kind of shocked because I was like, I thought the majority opinion was like Nikki Bella's or whatever. But no, she's super popular. I don't like her. I don't care for her. She's like a subpar wrestler. Honestly, I think she's a subpar character. Like, her mic work isn't great either. But people like her because I don't know. My only logic is that she was also very heavily pushed. Like, she was made to be the top of the women's division. And then she got like Total Divas, Total Bellas. So like maybe she has that mainstream appeal.
Well, her dad was also like part of like wrestling, right? He was like a big time producer in WWE, right?
Was he?
Isn't he? I think so. I think he's one of the people listed in that lawsuit.
Oh, I think that's their stepfather. But yes, John Laurinaitis.
Yeah, John Laurinaitis.
Yeah. He was a former wrestler, and then he was head of talent relations for a long time. And yes, he's been named in the lawsuit. So I don't know if that's really like a good marker for her. But
not really a good marker for her.
But Yeah, I don't know. I don't get the appeal, but there's something about her that people like, and you know, it's good for them. But I didn't care. But she didn't win, so I don't mind her showing up.
Yeah, that's
Because
fair. That is fair.
whatever, it's a moment for the crowd and for people who
Yeah.
like her, and that's fine, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of people for some reason had the insane thought that AJ Lee was actually going to return.
Oh
And
my
I
god,
don't
that would have
know.
been crazy.
It would have been, but I knew it wasn't happening. Like I don't
Yeah.
know what people thought it was, but so they were like super disappointed that was Nikki. I was just disappointed because I don't care for Nikki Bella, but
Yeah.
the crowd reacted favorably, and I don't know if I don't think she'll be back, so it doesn't matter, right? It's like a moment.
Yeah. Someone says Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair did the substance. What does that mean?
I
What
have
do you mean
no
they
idea.
did the substance? Like, did they take cocaine? I don't know what that means.
What does that mean?
I don't know what that means. But yeah, well, all right. So that's the men's Royal Rumble. That's the women's Royal Rumble.
Wait,
what
so,
about you?
sorry, how did you feel about the women's overall and like the winner?
I
and
overall
everything?
liked it. I like that spots were fun. I liked it. I thought it was overall pretty good. I just didn't care for the ending. I was like, I don't know who Charlotte Flair is. Like,
Yeah.
But all the other people were cool. I like seeing Trish. I like seeing. I don't even know who Alexa Bell was, but I thought her entrance was super cool.
Yeah, this was. I was telling my friends because I was watching with some friends, and I was saying I would really like if they had an NXT star debut in the Rumble and then win it. I thought that would be a really cool
Well,
moment.
Roxanne Perez almost waited to the end. She did the
She was,
most.
yeah.
She did the longest.
Yeah.
I think ever.
Yeah, they're big on Roxanne. I like Roxanne, so I was like, I know she's not, but it would just be so good just to like one swerve us that like, okay, Charlotte doesn't get the win, and two, like give this like that's a statement if an NXT star comes and wins it, right?
Yeah.
So that would have been really cool, but it didn't happen. But yeah, she's great. So yeah.
Right.
Substance the movie, they said. I don't know what that is.
I think this is like a movie reference, and I haven't watched the movie, so I don't get it.
Speaking
of I don't get it, let's talk about the tag match. Did this need to be in the Royal Rumble? Like, what was this? I know you said it was a good match, but like to me, like first of all, like I was like I didn't have a lot of time to watch this because I was watching it late at night, and I was like, this is one I'm gonna forward through real quick. I was like, I forward through it a little bit. Yeah, they're great tag team matches, but like, when was the last time a tag team match was like part of a Rumble and like part of a big match? DIY, I know they're getting a push, but like they're still not super interesting to me. Motor City Machine Guns, I know they're respected and they're big. Again, I don't really love this story. I'm not super invested in it. And then for the what's the other team called? The one that came and interfered?
Street Profits.
I like the Street Profits. I was glad they came and interfered, but I was like, okay, they helped the other team, which is weird. So I'm like, okay. What are your thoughts about that? I didn't really care for that. The match was fine, but like, I don't care about where this story is going.
I don't blame you because like for some reason Triple H has decided to not put an emphasis on tag teams, which is totally opposite to what he was doing in NXT, which was actually giving tag teams focus. So so I get you not caring because they didn't really build anything to it other than like DIY turning heel on them, and that's fine. Like I said, it was a good match. It was a really good match. There's some really cool spots and everything. I really like the ending because I really like the Street Profits.
I like the Street Profits too. I don't see the need for them. Like, why did they interfere and make the Motor City Machine Guns lose instead of the other way around?
So they, I think it was that the Motor City Machine Guns either like took their spot at the title for the title or something like that. Like, so there was they were in some way involved in preventing the Street Profits from getting the championship. Either they took their championship shot or I forgot what it was specifically, but there was that. And then DIY had attacked the Street Profits. So they have beef with both teams. You should check out their promo they had on SmackDown. It was like a pre-recorded one.
Okay.
It was fire. The Street Profits are great. Montez Ford specifically is like fantastic.
I like the Street Profits. I really do. I thought it would make more sense for them to beat up DIY.
I think they're going for this like what they call a tweener stage where they're not face or heel, they're kind of like in the middle. So by costing the Motor City Machine Guns, you like get them the heat because people are gonna boo them because the Motor City Machine Guns is a face. But then by attacking DIY, it's like, okay, they're just out for themselves.
Yeah.
And that's fine. And I don't know. I just hope they do something with them because like they're long
exactly.
overdue. Like Kevin Owens, they were unfortunate victims of the Bloodline storyline where they kept facing the Usos and they kept losing. They kept losing to the Usos, never winning the championships because the Bloodline storyline took priority over all of it. And so they, for like whatever 4 or 5 years now, they've just been denied the opportunity to like shine. And then they were like booked with Bobby Lashley, but then that went nowhere because WWE doesn't care about these. It's stupid. So I'm hoping this is the beginning of them actually getting back into the like position that I believe they deserve to be in. But we'll see.
All right. Well, speaking of Kevin Owens, again, the main event, or not, well, maybe not the main event, but the main title match.
Yes.
Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens. Somehow Sami Zayn got involved, which was really weird, but didn't do anything. He just stood there.
Yeah.
And then the two biggest spots were, I think, the Brainbuster onto the ladder,
dude,
which I think they kind of, I don't know if it was a botch or what, but I think Kevin Owens hits his head on the ladder pretty hard. And then the other was the Alabama Slam through the ladder, which looked brutal.
Dude, he folded himself. It looked so, and he didn't move for like 7-10 minutes.
Yeah, like, he stole the shit.
Rhodes
was so good.
Climbing really slow. Kevin's not moving. Rhodes gets the titles. Kevin's not moving. Rhodes is taunting with the titles, like celebrating. Kevin's still not moving. I'm like, yo, this is crazy.
I was like, is he going full Homelander? Like, a little worried about Cody. I was like, he's not worried at all about what he did.
For a while. People keep predicting that. They're like, oh, this is like the beginning. I was like, no, he was just celebrating. Like, what are you talking about?
I don't know.
The man was literally like targeted by Kevin Owens for months. I think it's fair for him to taunt about and celebrate his victory over the prone Kevin Owens, you know, like the Sami Zayn thing was weird until Monday night.
So I saw the Monday night and I think Kevin Owens attacks him, but like they don't explain why.
No, they do. So they explain on Friday night.
I didn't see Friday night yet.
Yeah, so Kevin Owens had like one of his like pre-recorded in the car promos.
Oh, okay. I didn't see it yet. And
he was like, "You're my best friend," and you stood there and did nothing while Cody Rhodes nearly ended my life. He ended my career. He could have ended my life. So obviously it's Kevin Owens gaslighting, but I don't know. I mean, he did stand there and do nothing. Like, why come out there if you're gonna stand there and do nothing?
He did stand there and do nothing. Yeah.
So like I mean, I'm kind of with Owens on this one of like, why were you there then?
What do you mean this one? Yo, I've always been on Owens' side.
I know. Same.
Here's the thing with me. I side with almost every heel.
I know.
Like everything Drew McIntyre says, I'm like valid. Everything like what you call it, Solo does, I'm like valid. Because like Solo literally did way better with the bloodline than Roman Reigns. He took care of his people. He basically saved Fatu from like being in jail. He saved his life. He loves him. Yeah. He treated Sammy better than Romans did. He didn't screw over all these people. Everyone should have been on Solo's side. Solo is the better bloodline leader. All right. So I mess with Solo. I mess with Kevin Owens. Everything Kevin Owens says is right. Because why did Cody do that? A weak ass reason. And like, I get it. They try to end his life. Drew McIntyre is the same thing. Like,
you just reminded me.
What?
Part of Kevin's promo was, so you stood there and did nothing as Cody almost ended my career, potentially my life. And then in the Rumble, I see you rush in to save Roman Reigns from a little beatdown. I was like, Kevin, you're onto something here. Like,
yo, that's so true. That is so true.
I was like, yo, wait a minute. That's like, he already was right, but then that added point of like, oh, Roman Reigns getting beat up in the corner. He's gotta go and help. Like that, you know what? I would be pissed too.
Yeah. I totally get that. And then like, I don't know, man. Sometimes I'd be like, yo, these heels, they make a lot of like, they make good point, because sometimes they'll drop something and you'll be like, well, you know what?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, like heels, especially in like the more recent years, heels have definitely made it interesting where like even if like it's twisted logic, but it's
Yeah.
enough logic where you can see from an
Yeah.
individual's perspective
Yeah.
why they would behave that way.
Yeah.
Like yes, from an outside like third person, you're just like
Mm-hmm.
you're out of your mind, but
Yeah.
when you look at it from like, hey, this is me, this is my life and the situation I'm in, and
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, I why would Sammy go and be so eager to help Roman, but watch
Yeah.
me go through a ladder? Like that's actually really
Yeah.
messed up. We're best friends. We were at each other's weddings, and
Yeah.
you're just helping this man who beat you up, abused you, and like
Yeah.
this, you know.
It's
So
like Black Panther. Like Killmonger is the villain, but then he drops a speech, and you're like, well,
yeah. No, they've been doing a really good job of like even with even with a lot of the faces, like making it like you said, like you felt like maybe Cody was going a little, excuse me, Homelander with the way he was like celebrating and
Yeah.
taunting, and so like they're doing a good job of grounding people into
Yeah.
like their reality. So like Punk and Seth, they're both faces, but
Yeah.
like both of them got good points.
Yeah, exactly. I think
You
both of
know?
them do got good points. They
You
go
know?
back and forth, and I'm just like, hey, they both got good points. Yeah.
Then like you said, like Drew, like I think sometimes they take Drew's thing a little too far with like sometimes I do feel he's just whining, but there are points where it's like, yeah, Roman cost me the championship, the Usos cost me the championship like
Yeah.
1,000 times. So I get his frustration. But it's like you can even they justify their hypocrisy too, which is funny.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. Like it's
Yeah.
just like, you know, it's so it is I really enjoy that like the heels especially, but even the faces get to like just mix it up and not just
Blur
be
the lines.
clean cut and just like, okay, you know, like the Cena or the Hogan type of just like
Yeah.
I'm a good guy and I always do good things and I'm always right because I do good things and
Yeah.
you know.
No,
So
I get it.
it's very Cobra Kai.
Yeah, I get that. Well,
Yeah.
listen, man, thank you so much for joining, and we've covered all of Rumble. What's the next one? Elimination Chamber. So we'll probably
Yeah.
come back for Elimination Chamber, and that'll be fun, and we'll see how that goes. But thanks for coming on the show. And before we go, let people know where they can find you.
Yeah, so you can find me Nuv the Poet, NAV the Poet on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. I now am focusing on creating YouTube content more than anything else. So yeah, check me out there. And yeah, always happy to talk wrestling.
Awesome, man. Love that. And for you guys that you don't know, there is a TV show coming out this Tuesday on Hulu called Muslim Matchmaker, and yours truly is on it. So check it out. Root for me, defend me in the comment sections. We'll see how it goes. I haven't seen the show. I don't know how it's edited. I didn't do anything wrong, but sometimes you just get
this sounds like a Kevin Owens moment.
Listen, sometimes you just get put in a situation and you don't know how things are edited, and sometimes you don't have the best situational awareness. And
You have, I will say, you have like the best moment in the promo though. Like they captured your excitement of getting the strike, like so beautiful. I love it. Like it's
that was
like
a real strike. I got a real strike.
I believe it. But I'm just like, oh, like the reaction was so good.
Yeah.
And, like I was just like the capturing of it. I was like, yo, that's such a good spot to put in the promo.
I know. I'm not in the trailer at all saying anything, and they just get one shot of me just being happy. I'm so happy with that. I'm glad. There's this one guy in the promo going, "I'm the UN of dating," and I'm just like, oh, that's bad.
I was gonna say, I'm like, that's actually good though that they don't have you saying something ridiculous. It's just you being excited and joyful. Like,
yeah. People were like, "Oh, you're not that much in." Like, listen, I don't care if I'm not that much in the whole show. I don't mind being a background character, right? I went on for the experience. I went on to meet somebody, whether I'm on TV or not. It doesn't mean nothing to me. I don't even show up to like the 4th episode, so it's fine. But yeah, but yes, check it out. It's on Hulu. Comes out on Tuesday. We're gonna do an episode tomorrow on the podcast where we're gonna talk about my experience on it a little bit. Our friend Shiv is gonna join, and she's gonna grill me on it. So we'll see how it goes. But until next time, guys, Salaam, nerds.